My wife is cheating on me with a friend and neighbor. I think they started over a year ago, but I don't have all the facts yet. It's for sure not new and started before coronavirus. He's a CPA and does our taxes. So in January and February, there's a fair bit of visiting each other's house. My wife and I are in her early 40s and he and his wife are in their early 30s. We're all friends, the four of us, and I have no reason to think his wife has a clue. I guess I could do some Hollywood stuff like announce a business trip, but stake out their house. I watched the movements of her phone to track her. She lives at home. Odometer showed a trip somewhere, but her cell never left her house. She might have a second phone. I assume so. On another carrier. Probably a prepaid thing. I have no idea how to run it down if it's not on a credit or debit card. The evidence. I have a circumstantial. I have doorbell cameras. No, he doesn't come to her place to meet with her. Every morning on my way through the garage to get my car, I check the odometer on hers when my ring tells me she slipped out of the house that day. I can check the car mileage when I get home, and often it is the distance to and from his house. Not always, of course. Often more or even less. But once in a while it sinks. The killer fact isn't specific to him, but my health insurance website lists claims submitted for doctor's visits, tests, prescriptions at a pharmacy. I never heard of 3 counties away. She has one of 4 birth control pills. I got a vasectomy 10 years ago. I went to the doctor's office for CD tests. We don't use condoms. Of course I have a vasectomy. She's on birth control pills, so they may be screwing her. Who else does he sleep with? Who else does his wife sleep with? I'll get the results next week. But already got an answer. She's sexually active with somebody for sure. I don't recall word for word, but our doctor said while talking to me. But he was glad I could finally come in. Now, I was trying to get through this without saying why I was getting tested. So I was pretty mum, not trying to be tricky because I had no clue. I replied. I thought a test was a good idea. Then he blundered and said, Deborah, I thought you wouldn't come in. Long story short, she's been tested last month. He, of course, urged her to have me tested too, because all spouses do. And now here I was. And he's blown her cover. I'll get my results soon. But I already learned she's getting herself tested for bugs. I put off confronting her about what I know. I have started to move some money around in case this goes to divorce. But I can't do a lot without him wondering next month why I'm moving my money. I have had 3 free consultations with attorneys and something the third lawyer said has given me pause. This doesn't seem to actually bother you much. Guys who come in here usually want to hurt somebody. It took me a few hours after he said that to realize I'm not angry. I feel stupid that she got away with it, but not hurt by what she did. I'm going to talk to somebody about my situation and see what the therapist says. Our home life is better than ever. Each of us being extra nice to keep our secret. I've been initiating sex more often because thinking about her in his bed makes me aroused. She at least pretends to love it when I do and seems to respond eagerly. I have no idea what I will do or when I feel kind of alone. Because I suspect most husbands go straight to rage in divorce court and I'm holding myself back. I'm no kid. My anger has gotten me into so much crap in the past that I keep a lid on myself. Maybe a therapist can tell me if some other husbands react or maybe don't react like I have. My feelings swirl and vary from hour to hour. I'm really upset that I have been tricked, really pissed. I'm not a stupid man, but I feel like a fool. Now I want to feel better by being Sherlock Holmes. I'm intent on finding her phone next, seeing who she is cheating with. I'm more focused right now on catching him than I am at stopping him. And that also makes me feel like a chump. I guess it's a big part of this that I feel stupid. Until now. I would have told you that we were a perfect couple, still in love after 20 years, still passionate in bed. Many of our peers can't say as much, but everything is different now. I look at her coming out of the shower, telling her hair, and I picture him in there with her when she falls asleep before I do. I lie next to her, imagining all the dirty things she might have done that day to make her so tired when I kiss her. I imagine she tastes different even though of course she doesn't. I will toss her car. Too many movies tomorrow after faking a problem with mine after breakfast and taking hers without warning. Find her burner. Check for texts, pics, evidence. Stupid. If I confront without the facts. Divorce will devastate our teens. ruined my finances. It takes more strength to persevere than to explode, and most of the love is still there. All the years we had together and that we thought we had in front of us. I think maybe I love her more knowing somebody wants to take her away from me. I'm sick. Update 1. She was cool as could be Wednesday morning when I told her I'd switch cars for the day because the tires needed rotation at my office. I spent at least an hour searching her car for a phone but found nothing. I even had a tarp from inside the building so I could get down on the ground. One of my friends came along and wouldn't leave, wanted to help me. I quickly made up a story that I had dropped a key and couldn't find it. He actually worked the other side for a while and said, "What am I really looking for?" So I told him and we gave up in another 20 minutes. He said his in-laws are policemen and really knows how to search. But I brushed his offer off for now. Filter for the rest of the day. No closer to the truth. Icing on my cake was to get home and find that she'd put 18 miles in my car shopping. But her phone never left the house, and I can't tell her I know that. Update 2. Received a poison pen email last night, accusing Deborah of cheating on me. Sure. Merry Christmas, right? Said I needed to know my wife was running wild, hurting people. Strange word choice. Unless from her lover's spouse. It attached a half-naked picture of her in a bedroom. I didn't recognize panties on. Clearly not a selfie. Her boyfriend must have taken it. I don't know how to find out who sent it. I wrote back that I didn't believe them. Of course I do believe them. It was not easy to get to sleep last night in bed with her. My brain full of porn, movie images on my naked wife hurting people in that bed in that room. Got up at 5 a.m. to look for another message, but none. I took care of myself, if you know what I mean. Before getting back into bed. If you took one picture, he took a bunch. I figure I need to convince the center to give me more so I can figure out the wheres and whens and with who. Final update. Everything is crap, but I'm okay. It wasn't my neighbor. It was one of the guys I work with. And it has been going on a year or so. He was the guy who helped me search her car for a burner phone. They've known for a while that I suspected he knew I was onto her from the car search day. She told him I showed no signs at home that I minded what they were doing, though I didn't know then who the guy was. He bet her I would just accept it. And they sent me the first picture. The one with the panties on from a blind address themselves. When I still didn't say anything, even after the subsequent filthy pics of her, they reeled me in. So I am accepting this because I can't live without her. It all makes me mad or wrecked or both. Seeing him in the office, smirking, me having sex with my wife while she kind of smirks too, well, that was a weird ending. But whatever floats your boat, dude. On to the next one. So tell my wife. A coworker confessed feelings for me. A coworker confided in me that her husband had an affair. A few months back, the husband and I have been friends, coworkers for quite some time. This came as a shock to me as I thought their marriage was pretty rock solid. As the discussion progressed, I felt for her and wanted to try to help. Unfortunately, I understood all too well what it meant to be the victim of an unfaithful spouse. But I was able to share my struggles and how we ultimately overcame the situation, resulting in a stronger marriage. We discussed looking for answers and the work that she and her husband would need to put in if they were going to move forward. We hugged it out and she thanked me for sharing. Said she felt better and drove off. Here's where the curveball came in. Maybe 2 minutes later, she came back in as I was about to leave. She approached my car, apologizing profusely and told me she just had to get something off her chest. She proceeded to tell me she didn't want anything to change between us and that she was crazy. She then blurted out that she has feelings for me and has for some time. I was shocked and didn't know how to respond. I told her I am married. She is married and that everything would be okay. I got out of my car and awkwardly gave her another hug as she was tearful again. This hug was different, though, as she squeezed me hard and kept rubbing my back and arms with her face and my chest. I tried to let go a couple of times, but she wouldn't let go, only resulting in a more awkward hug. She finally let go and drove off again. Why wouldn't I tell my wife about it? She's kind of the jealous type. We also see these people on the rig. And I don't want things to be weird, especially since the confessor is already going through a rough time. I don't want my wife to feel upset or uneasy either. Since I worked with this person, I could understand how weird it might be to have your husband around some girl that wants to pursue a romantic relationship with him. I want to tell my wife about the affair that happened, but kind of feel like it would be a lie by omission if I didn't tell her the rest. I also don't think I did anything wrong. So there's not like a guilt factor I need to come clean about. For the record, my feelings toward this coworker are strictly platonic. I do think she is a big sweetheart. I want her to be happy, but I harbor no romantic feelings for her whatsoever. Has anybody else been in this kind of dilemma before? In either direction? Let's see what the community says to help this person out. Rauhart says yes. Tell your wife you did nothing wrong, but she should know this information just in case this escalates more. The op came back with frick. I hadn't thought about it escalating. Maybe I'm naive, but I don't know how it could get worse than here, since I have no intention of pursuing it further. Rauhart, respond back with you. Say you go out with these people. What would happen if that woman hit on you in front of your wife or said something weird? Ops answer. No, you're totally right. People are unpredictable, and that example would certainly be hard to explain reactively. On another note, I'm not sure I handle the situation correctly. I suppose this feeling lends itself to my current unrest. I maybe should have literally and bluntly shut it down and said there is nothing here and never will be, instead of telling her everything will be okay. However, I don't truly think she has feelings for me more than friendship. I have no reason to suspect otherwise, as we have known each other for several years. I think she is latching onto a shared negative experience that we both have had and has made seeking my kindness for romantic interest and she is hurting. What do I know though, right? Well, her response to that was I think you reacted fine given an out of left field moment. It's easy to be more blunt in hindsight. Make sure you have clear boundaries in the future. I wouldn't suggest any more hugs. Are you Kelly wanted to chime in with? I would take what she said seriously. It is perfectly possible she has developed very strong emotional feelings for you. In fact, it is more than possible. She has told you in positive terms that this has happened. People going through turmoil can spend a lot of time looking for an escape. It can build up extremely strong feelings of connection that other people know nothing about. I don't imagine this is casual or in some way not truly important to her. I expect she spent hours and hours, even days, thinking about the conversations she was going to have with you. Although in her dreams, it probably ended slightly differently, i.e., with you declaring deep feelings for her as well. This doesn't mean she is going to be difficult. She might be able to deal with her situation and eventually move on without embarrassing you further. But there is definitely a potential for things to go worse. Example, she tells her husband if you decide to treat it as a passing piece of madness, you might get yourself in trouble. Also, if you tell your wife about this as it seems you are likely to, can I suggest you are open to the possibility that this is a very serious matter for the woman involved, and don't try to downplay it as some kind of casual, temporary weirdness. Otherwise, I foresee a massive marital row.